Alright everybody, back on the Seaview. This is the start of update number 14. This is Thursday, June 27th, down in my shop. I have the day off. I don't go back to work till tomorrow night. I work every other weekend, so I work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I'm off Monday, and then I'm also off the 4th, that Thursday next week, a week from today. Hard to believe that the 4th is just around the corner. But it's about 10 to 3 in the afternoon. I'm back down in my shop. What I failed to show in update 13 is the flying sub. It does go up with the magnet that I have in it, but it's just not that strong enough. So I'll show that here in a few minutes. I'm going to show everybody it lit up one more time before I take it apart. I have it set at a little over 9 volts. Looks like everything's working. Turn some lights off. And you can look inside again one more time. Everything's working good. Looking good. There's that monitor right there. Everything's looking cool. Everything's working fine on this side. You can see everything, and then underneath I've got the front searchlight, I guess is what that is, and then the lower lights, which are the floodlights, and then the lights that I have for the bay, which is in red. With the, I think it's the Voodoo XF board that I have, it's technically supposed to be white, but I wanted to do it my way, and I made it red. Here is the flying sub. She does mount up in there, and she does hold up in place. I have to keep my hand out in case she falls. But you can see it sets up there fine with the magnet. It's just not that strong enough. I don't know. We'll see. That might work, but you can get a better shot of it. You can see that it fits up there fine with my idea. Just, you know, with the magnet. Then I can pop it out of there anytime. It looks pretty cool with the lighting on the rear end of it. You can see there. Kind of hard to get that all in frame. Let me see. That might be a little bit better of a shot. There we go. Very cool. That looks pretty cool. So let me see if I can pop that out. And then without the flying sub in the bay. Very cool. So it's working out, but I'm not too crazy because it's not that strong of a magnet. And then we'll get another look at the sub. The fun part is I'll have to take this all apart because I got to put the windows in, and then I got to touch it up here with some white on the tube. And then there's going to be a tiny little gap once this is joined that this copper won't really, it's really close to touching the top part of this, but I'll fill that in with some white Tamiya putty, and that should do the trick to fill that little bit of a gap in. But the bottom part here will connect to the top of the sub and will give me a good bond there. So that's the fun I got in store. So I got to take this all apart. Got to put the windows in and get those masked off. I'll have to put the conning tower on after I get this front end taken care of. But I'm rambling on. I'll put this back up here one more time so everybody can get a look at it. There's with the flying sub in the bay. Very cool. So I'll pause for now, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. This is Friday afternoon, June 28th, 1:30 in the afternoon. I've got the sub temporarily together. I got it taped right here with the front and the rear joined together, where you glue it together, and then you got that nice seam work to clean up, and the seam work will run from here all the way down. And technically the front of the sub is done, other than putting it together and getting the windows in and all that. The cutting tower is done. I'm gonna have to maybe light sand that flat black if I've got a little bit work on that, but not much. Just light sand it, then I can hit it with its final coat of primer. And these tail fins back here get lit up, and here's the parts here, that one on each side, and I'm going to try to work on that today and maybe see if I can get an SMD in there without using any fiber optics. You can see the nice channel that they made for you for wire or fiber optic to run through there, which will be cool. I got plenty of fiber optics in stock, but hopefully I can just put a SMD on the end here. I'll have to experiment and see. But sub is 39 inches long, and I can barely get it on frame here on the video here. But there's a good shot of it right there. It barely fits on my workbench. The only thing that's going to slow me down once the sub's ready for primer and everything's done is my spray booth. From this end over, it's 36. I think it's 36 inches long, so it's a few inches shy from the length of the sub. My brother's going to extend that end another foot out. So it's going to look just like it is now, but it's going to be a foot longer, and I'll be able to get the sub in there, primer it, and paint it. And then any other larger kits I have in stock down the road I want to build, I'll have them in the spray booth. Some guys would probably just take this sub outside since it's summertime and primer it up and maybe paint it out there, but I got this nice little workshop down here in my basement, and the only disadvantage I have at the moment is the spray booth, but that's going. I bought the materials for it, the wood for it, a couple weeks ago, so it's going to take about 4 hours to extend it. But I'm going to work on this part today. I'll show everybody what I got for an idea for the lighting in the back of the fins here with the either SMD or fiber optic. We'll see. But I figured I'd share this with everybody. This is part of update number 14 on the Seaview. Once it's all together, I hate to have it set for a while till we get that spray booth extended out, and maybe next weekend when I'm off, I can get my brother to help me. It's only about 4 hours to do it, and then I can really focus on the sub and get it done. But I figure I'd give everybody a quick update on the Seaview, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the rear lighting for the sub, which is back here on the tail fins. I've got 1805 on my bench. Like I showed in previous videos, they're very tiny. Do a good job. You got a choice of lenses in the back for the tail lights. I'm using these. Here it shows you 101 or 98, and on the opposite page it shows you right down in here, it says to finish, choose either the pointed tail fin lights or number 98 for blunt tail lights, which is 101 for the blunt. The other one is pointed, which is 98. The blunt is 101. I think I got the right ones out. Yeah, and I got these are the 101s. And I think it says that's what was most seen. Yeah, most photos show blunt round bulbs on both shooting miniatures, but they are pictures of the restored 17-footer which point at tail lights. You can decide which one you'd like or you prefer. So this is what I'm going for. And it looks like I won't have no problem in this channel here. Let me use this one. I'm actually using this one here, but I'll go ahead and demonstrate here. I'm going to have to like figure out where the SMD is going to be, like in the back or close up front, because this lens here, and there is an opening on the back side. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. And you can see it. I thought about boring it out and seeing if I can get the SMD to fit. It almost fits. I'd hate to have to ruin it and go with the other ones, but that's how you learn, right? You got an idea, you got to go for it. So I'm going to get a drill bit out and see if I can open that up, because that would solve a lot. I can just put the SMD in there, and I wouldn't have to worry about where I'd have to position it here on the back side of it. So let me go ahead and figure that out. Once I get that done, I'll show everybody the end results. I have to add some wire to this SMD, positive and negative, which I'll get set up here in a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, and another update on the tail fin lighting for the Seaview 128 scale for Mobius. This is Sunday, July 6th. It's about almost 11:30 in the morning. Yesterday I channeled that one off, the SMD, and used the 5-minute epoxy, which is right here. And I channeled that wire in, glued it in place, and then I repeated the process on this side. And I finished that up just a few minutes ago. Next step will be putting these sides on, one on each side. And I'll probably use a little bit of testers and some Tamiya extra thin. Maybe I may go with a little bit of this. This is their, in the red cap, it's a little bit thicker and it takes a little longer to dry than the extra thin. We'll see, but I'm definitely going to probably use some of this tester's glue, because these channels here lock in with this here, you can see. So I'll probably use some testers here and here, just spot it out, and then use the extra thin. But I'm getting there. I should have this finished today with the lighting for the tail fins. It's looking good. The SMDs look good. They work fine. And we'll see once it's all together what the results will look like. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this. Figured I'd give everybody an update, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the sub. Earlier video this will be on. I had the sub completely together other than the conning tower. Now I have it apart to show everybody the lighting on the rear tail fins of the submarine. I'm using 2 white SMDs. They're standard white, so they're the brightest out of the SMDs that you can buy. They got red, green, yellow, blue. They got RGBs, you name it, they have them today. But the 2 lights coming out of the tail fin are kind of bright on the sub, and mine probably won't be as bright the way I got the SMDs in there, but they'll still illuminate and show some light on the rear. I'm gonna turn off the overhead, and then you can see here I light blocked it the best I could on the inside, so I'm going to have to do the same step with this that I did with the conning tower. I'm going to have to primer it, hit it with flat black, primer it again, and it should take care of that light leak. And I'll just have to do this section right here, not the whole tail fin. But if you look here, I know that light, let's see, let me try to turn this other light off. That's a lot better. And you can see tail fin lights are working just fine. It's looking good, and they're pretty decent. Camera's going to bleed it out, but I'm happy with the results. It's looking really good. So that's the look at the rear of the sub with the lighting, and it didn't take as long as everything else with the lighting that I put into the sub, like the control room and conning tower was a little easy too. It didn't really take that long, other than the little light leak I had to tend to, and that's why I figured I'd primer it, hit it with flat black and primer it again, and it did take care of that light leak. And I'll have to do the same thing with the rear of the sub. But hitting that with primer might just take care of it, but we'll see when I get to that step. I still have to put in the lens. Let me see. Should have pulled one out of the bag. Here's one of the lens that goes on the back of the sub. I'll turn that light off, and you can see when I hold it, I'll have to hold it because it just won't stay in place. Which my finger might bleed that out. Oh, yeah, see, it just won't stay in place until I glue it. But get the general idea. There's this side right here. There's going to be plenty of light coming out of the tail fins. That'll be my next step, is I'll have to do a little bit of work I got to do on these yet before I can glue this in place. But I figured I'd give everybody a quick update. Well, not an update. I'm going to call this a wrap for update number 14 on the Seaview from Mobius models, 1/28 scale. Just finished up the tail fin lighting this weekend. I had off the July 6th and 7th. This is Monday, July 8th. I'd like to thank all my YouTube subscribers. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. More to come on the sub, and I'll talk with everybody later.